Many of DC's best comics rely on trickery to have that little extra something.
I mean, a lot of stories
After all,
require
everyone
a
likes to
little
be
bit of
surprised,
trickery.
and everyone hates having the same overused storylines hashed
Everyone
out
loves a good
time and
plot
time
twist.
again.
Nothing
Why
wrong
not
with
mix
it,
things
as
up
long
with
as
a
it's
little
smart
good
plot
old-fashioned
twist.
plot twist? Or a new school plot twist, because many of these tricks and surprises genuinely feel like they've never been done before.
How
Most
can a
of the
plot
best
twist be
applications
new
of these
school?
are in comic mysteries, because all the best share the
Oh, I
fact that
feel
they
this
have
is
an
going to be
ocean's worth
educational
of
as
red
well as
herrings in them.
entertaining.
That said, plenty of regular comics also trick you a fair few times, as the
I am
ever-changing
ready to be
timelines and
tricked.
backstories of DC and its characters often leads to you getting pranked by the proverbial prank patrol. I'm Zoe from WhatCulture, and I thought long and hard
Pleasure to
about
meet you,
trying to trick
Zoe.
you guys in the intro in some way, but the real twist here is that there is no twist. Only 10 times DC Comics tricked you.
Great twist.
Number 10, the identity of Holiday. Perhaps the
Who's
most
Holiday?
famous of DC's clever twist endings
What's
is that of the
Holiday?
ending of The Long Halloween, and deservedly so.
What's The Long
And it gets its
Halloween?
rep because it's simply a fantastic story. The Long Halloween is largely a mystery story, centered around a mysterious serial killer named Holiday. Halfway through the story,
okay.
it appears as though the mystery has
Halloween,
been solved,
serial killer,
with Holiday is
murderer.
revealed to be Alberto Falcone, who has been systematically killing people off on holidays in order to spite his father for never letting him join the mafia activities of the Falcone family.
What?
At the very end of the last issue, however, things suddenly take a drastic change. Gilda Dent, Two-Face's partner, is revealed to have been responsible for the majority of the Holiday murders,
What?
in an attempt to get vengeance for her supervillain paramour. Hilariously, Batman doesn't believe Two-Face when he tells him this, as he thinks Harvey is simply too obsessed with the number 2 to tell him the truth. Number 9, Bane kills the Bat Boys. If there's one thing
Bat
that can be
Boys?
comfortably said
What's
about
the
the
Bat
Batman
Boys?
Rebirth series, it's that it pulls
sounds
no
like an
punches in
NSYNC
terms of loading
reject.
every single issue with tricks and turns. One of the best of these is in Batman 16, which ends with what appears to be Robin, Nightwing, and the Red Hood all hung up in the Batcave as a
Oh,
taunt
that's
from
it.
Bane.
Okay, yeah,
The
Bat
trick in this
Boys.
scene is twofold. On one hand, there will have been plenty of fans
That's
who
a
thought this equaled the deaths of
visual.
the Bat Boys, albeit a likely temporary death.
That's
On
a
the other, there was
gruesome
also likely
visual.
a ton of people who expected these bodies to be that of decoys, or otherwise anyone but Batman's
Yeah, that
actual
makes sense,
sidekicks.
yeah.
But both of these would be proven wrong in the next issue, which would reveal that the people strung up were in fact the various Robins, but that they hadn't been killed, but rather severely injured, with Batman keeping them in stasis until he could hunt
Okay.
Bane down himself.
That's not a-
Number
that's
8,
a sort of
Power
plot
Girl
twist, I
becomes an
guess.
Atlantean. Power
What?
Girl has long been a character that DC aren't really sure what to do with,
She's
and her
just
brief
there
stint as
taking
an
up space.
Atlantean only reinforces this. Wanting to
How
add a
did she
little
become an
extra
Atlantean?
something
Did
to
she
the
marry an
character,
Atlantean?
Kara's Kryptonian origins were rewritten to be an illusion, as her real roots were supposedly that of a descendant of Arion, a former lord of Atlantis. While
Did
this
they
wasn't
actually
a
do
terrible
that?
idea, those who went on to write Power Girl shied away from the idea, to the point that it became clear that this fishy background wasn't going to be explored any further.
That's
It made
ridiculous.
for an interesting interlude, at least, even if it was only an incredibly temporary interlude.
That sounds
Number 7,
ridiculous.
Rick
Supergirl as an
Grayson.
Atlantean?
When Nightwing was shot in the head in Batman 55, fans flew into speculation. Was the Dark Knight's first ever sidekick dead for real? Would he be subjected to the Lazarus pits and driven insane, like his Bat brother Jason Todd?
Oh
As
my
is
god,
often the case,
Nightwing's
what
insane. That
actually
would have
happened
been
was
a visual.
much weirder. Instead of being dead, because he was shot in the head, Dick
They
Grayson
changed
developed
his identity.
intense amnesia and would become Rick Grayson.
Oh
This
my-
was weird
that's
not only
even
because it seemed
weirder.
like DC had made these
That's
changes
even
after becoming
weirder.
uncomfortable with the name Dick, but also because Rick became everything he formerly was not. Caring and funny character became a devil-may-care bad boy
So he
who
became
rejected
like-
all attempts at being helped
like
by his
Red
former
Hood.
friends. This would prove
Essentially,
especially infuriating,
and even worse,
because Rick
Red Hood.
still wanted to recover his past. He just didn't want anyone helping him to recall it, apparently.
So
While
he was a
Nightwing's amnesia plot appears to
so
be
he
closing
was
up
a
with
crazy
him
type of
regaining his
introvert.
memory in issue 68, the frustrating aspects of this storyline almost make you wish he'd just died and then been brought back in the first place.
How about
Number
not
6,
dying at
the
all?
real Lobo. Lovers of the gruff
you mean, the
mercenary
real
Lobo
Lobo?
were collectively horrified when the New 52 reboot revealed that the wise-talking Suzanian had received a revamp, and now had a
They
decidedly
didn't.
sleeker design and a totally different
Did they
personality,
actually
which saw him be dubbed
retouch Lobo?
Twilight Lobo after his resemblance to the vampires from the Twilight series.
Shut up.
More frustrating yet, the original Lobo still existed in this universe.
What? How?
Only as a supposed fake version of Lobo, who was decapitated in the first issue of the New 52 series. After discovering that people sort of despised the new version of their anti-hero,
No shit.
DC got to work and devised a plan to redeem their boy. In said plan, the new Lobo would instead be uncovered to be the Faker, and the real Lobo would be reintroduced after the rebirth
Oh
event,
my goodness,
meaning
talk
that everyone
about
who
causing
believed
a
the new
problem
Lobo
on
would
your
stay
own.
had been well and truly punked.
Oh,
It
that's
currently appears
genius.
that the newer
That's
Lobo
actually
was the
really
one who was the
genius.
doppelganger all along. That's the retrospective cover-up that's been used,
That's
and
genius.
that's what we should believe
That's a
for
good one.
now.
I believe
Number
that.
5, Murray's secret job. While it is technically a retcon, one of the coolest things about the Brightest Day series is that it shows us everything we knew about Mera before was in fact a trick. As in the comic, we learn that the wife of Aquaman and Queen of Atlantis was in fact supposed to kill him when they first met.
What?
But she was at the time an ex-Bell assassin. Despite being sent specifically to murder Aquaman, she refused to do so upon meeting him.
Why?
Which would result in the two growing closer and eventually getting married.
And having
Wildly,
children.
Aquaman doesn't seem to mind this revelation, despite the fact it means that she's been concealing a pretty important fact from him for all these years.
It's a great
Number
love
4,
story.
the
How'd you
identity
meet?
of Hush.
She was supposed to kill
Much of the
me.
mystery of Hush is likely known to Bat fans now, especially anyone who played through the side missions in Arkham City. But at the time, it was one of the most exciting mysteries in DC. This was only made more solid by just how many red herrings the plot had. Hush appeared to be everyone from Clayface to former sidekick Jason Todd.
That's a great way to make a mystery story. It is a very great element.
Hush would eventually be revealed to be none other than Bruce's former best friend, Thomas Elliot, a famous surgeon who would later have his face transformed into Wayne's, just to make things a little more complicated.
Psycho! I remember the story from Batgirl.
There's one thing for sure.
No,
few other stories pull the wool over our eyes quite so many times. Number 3, Yo-Yo lives.
Who's
On a
Yo-Yo?
first read of the Suicide Squad, it seems as though the supervillain Yo-Yo is just one of many poor unfortunates to die while working for Amanda Waller. As he's eaten by King Shark in the 3rd issue, and for all intents and purposes,
I wonder how many people she's killed as well.
Until 6 issues later, when it's uncovered that Yo-Yo was actually subjected to a much worse fate, as he's recovered from King Shark's maw alive.
You kidding?
This means that through all the team's adventures in this time, Yo-Yo was with them, just trapped in the stomach of an angry fishman. While this would lead to an interesting reveal that the character was totally indestructible, he would still be retconned out of existence. And right as he got interesting, too.
Why
Number
you
2,
put him through all that
Joker.
just to
When the Joker showed
erase
up in the
him?
2016 Harley Quinn comic, nobody thought anything about it. Even when he told Harley he'd decided to change and be better to her, it didn't seem too unbelievable.
What do you mean too
After all, he
unbelievable?
was
It's
either
the
blind
Joker.
just to get her back, or a nicer imagining of the Joker than we usually see.
Yeah,
As
it's
it turns
obviously a
out,
lie.
neither of these were the
He looks way
actual
too handsome to be
explanation
the
for the
Joker.
Crown Prince of Crime's sudden romantic turn. Instead, it turns out that this isn't actually the Joker, but rather a man named Edwin who had gotten surgery to look exactly like the Jester
What's with
himself.
DC characters getting surgeries
and managed
to look
act
like
down
other
sound
characters?
exactly like him. It seemed as though there was no way Harley would ever uncover this secret.
Oh, but
Only
maybe Harley
there
should
was
have accepted
one
him.
very specific
Maybe
part
should
of
have been
Edwin's
happy.
anatomy that he didn't get changed with surgery. And it's also a part that Harley is familiar enough with that she immediately recognizes it isn't right. It's a unique way to uncover a secret,
That's
for
hilarious.
sure. Number 1, the hero killer.
I never
Heroes
thought
in
of
Crisis set up what was, like it or hate it, an
Ugh.
incredibly interesting premise for a comic, as it was based around a rehabilitation center for superheroes. Said center would then have the
Rehab
heroes in it
center for
slaughtered, leading to a
superheroes?
murder mystery where those left tried to work out what happened and who was responsible.
Oh,
And
I never
much
even
like
heard of
any
this.
good whodunit tale, the story purposefully tricks you into suspecting everyone but the true culprit. With
Yeah,
Harley Quinn beginning the
I love a
series
good
by
whodunit.
needlessly stabbing Booster Gold, it seems obvious that she's the culprit.
Harley
right
Quinn.
up until she's proven completely innocent.
'Cause she was killed.
Instead, the hero killer turns out to be none other than Wally West, who you'd never suspect
Why?
because he's seen dead in the first issue. As it turns out, the Flash travels back in time, leaves a dead version of himself by the crime scene, and then attempts to fix the disaster that he accidentally caused by losing control of his powers. It's annoying in the sense that it's a mystery that'd be impossible to solve beforehand.
It's a time travel
It's a good
whodunit.
twist nonetheless.
It's a very
And
good
those were our
twist.
twists. Any other ones you can think of? Let us know down in the
It's a
comments
very
below,
good
and don't forget to
twist.
like, share, and subscribe.
Thank you
I'm
very
Dave from
much.
WhatCulture.